Macro mode was introduced with the iPhone 13 Pro models. In upcoming iPhones, I would imagine it will trickle down and be made available on more models. Macro utilizes the ultra-wide lens to focus on a subject that can be as close as 2 centimeters, which can result in a great amount of detail or an interesting perspective within a small subject or area. Macro will work in the standard photo mode as well as with video, slow-mo, and time-lapse. Currently, this iPhone is just in standard photo mode. As I move it physically closer to Dwight's head, you'll notice a lens shift, and then in the lower left, a macro icon is displayed. This is letting us know the ultra-wide lens is now in use for a macro shot. This is not signified over in the zoom levels. Notice that this still says 1x, even though macro mode is active, which is using the ultra-wide lens. If you're not seeing this icon when the lens is within a few centimeters of the subject, the macro control option might be turned off in camera settings. We can see it here at the very bottom of the camera settings list. With this deactivated, as the iPhone is moved closer to Dwight's head, we can see the lens shift occur, but no macro icon appears. So the iPhone has moved into macro mode. It just doesn't let me know by displaying the macro icon. I definitely prefer to have macro control activated. When the macro icon appears, we can tap on it to deactivate macro mode. This will shift the camera back to the wide lens and most likely will lose focus. The wide lens simply can't focus on a subject when it's this close. Tap again and we'll return to macro mode. Hold the phone away and macro mode will automatically deactivate. While in macro, we can tap to set the focus area as well as adjust exposure. Here's a photo of how close the iPhone is to the subject for this macro shot. Macro works the same when we're shooting video. As I approach, the shift to the ultra-wide lens occurs and the macro icon appears. I can then start recording. Macro won't work when you're shooting 4K video at 60 frames per second. It needs to be set at a maximum of 4K 30 frames per second for macro video to become available. Here are some samples of macro images that I've taken with my iPhone.